I never imagined my life would end up here in a cold, grey room that smells of bleach and sadness. A tiny window, a metal bed, and silence except for the faint hum of the hallway lights. My name is Margaret, and I spent 40 years building a home that was once filled with laughter and love. Now, I sit here abandoned by the very children I raised, wondering how it all went so wrong. It all started the morning they told me to pack my bags. My daughter Emily was the one who broke the news. She smiled the kind of smile people wear when they're hiding something. "Mum, it's just for a few weeks," she said, her voice a little too bright. "Until we find you somewhere comfortable." Her brother, James, stood behind her, arms crossed, his eyes fixed on a spot on the wall behind me. He couldn't even look at me. "Weeks," they said. But in their eyes, I saw something else: relief. A heavy, final kind of relief. You see, I had just sold the old family house, the one my late husband Arthur and I built brick by brick. We had poured our souls into that place. Every scratch on the floorboards told a story. We'd always agreed the money from the sale would go towards my retirement care to make sure I was comfortable and secure in my final years. But my kids insisted on helping manage it. "It's too much for you to handle, Mum," James had said, all serious and responsible. I trusted them. Of course I did. I thought they're my children. They love me. What could possibly go wrong? They drove me there on a rainy Thursday. The windshield wipers kept a slow, mournful rhythm against the glass as I sat in the back seat, clutching my purse to my chest. The nursing home wasn't what I imagined from the glossy brochures they'd shown me. It wasn't bright or warm. It just looked tired. Faded paint peeled from the walls, the lights in the corridor flickered, and a cracked sign above the entrance read Sunnyview Care Center. The irony of that name almost made me laugh. It was the furthest thing from sunny I could imagine. Emily walked me to the front desk, her hand on my back feeling more like a push than a comforting touch. She signed some papers, her pen scratching quickly across the page. James stayed by the car, staring at his phone. He didn't even come inside to say goodbye. "We'll call you tomorrow, Mum," Emily chirped, kissing my cheek. Her lips were cold. "Get settled in." Then she was gone, her footsteps echoing down the linoleum hallway until they faded into the general drone of the place. I was left standing there with a small suitcase and a lifetime of memories packed away in boxes they promised to bring later. I knew even then they never would. My new room was small, with a single bed and a dresser that had seen better days. The window looked out onto a brick wall. A nurse, a woman with kind but weary eyes, came in to introduce herself. "Welcome to Sunnyview, Margaret," she said softly. That night, I lay awake listening to the unfamiliar sounds, the coughs from the next room, the squeak of a cart in the hall, the distant siren. The silence from my children was the loudest sound of all. Days turned into a week. No calls, no visits. I'd sit by the phone in the common room, watching it, willing it to ring. I asked the nurse if there were any messages for me. She'd just shake her head sadly. Not today, dear. I started to realize the truth, a cold, hard stone settling in my stomach. The few weeks was a lie. The somewhere comfortable was this room. The money I'd entrusted to them was gone. I tried calling them. Emily's phone went straight to voicemail. James's line was always busy. I left messages, my voice starting strong but cracking by the end. Emily, honey, it's Mum. Just calling to see when you're coming. James, please call me back. I'm worried. The messages went unanswered. The other residents here have their own stories. There's Eleanor, who waits by the door every Sunday for a son who hasn't visited in 5 years. And there's Mr. Henderson, whose grandchildren used to visit but are now too busy with sports and friends. We're the forgotten ones, the inconvenient elders. We trade stories of our past lives, of the children we raised, the homes we built. We talk about them with a mixture of love and a deep, aching pain that never quite goes away. We were the center of their universe once. Now we're not even a distant star. One afternoon, I was looking through the small box of belongings they'd let me keep. One found an old photo album. There was a picture of me, Arthur, and the kids on our first vacation to the beach. Emily is on my lap, her little face smeared with chocolate ice cream. James is proudly holding up a seashell he found, his eyes shining with excitement. We were so happy. I look at that photo and wonder where that family went. When did their love for me become a burden? Was it a gradual fading, or was there a single moment when they decided I was no longer worth their time? I think the hardest part isn't the loneliness or even the betrayal. It's the feeling of being erased. As if the 40 years I spent loving them, raising them, sacrificing for them, meant nothing at all. They took my home, they took my money, but worst of all, they took my purpose. They left me here to fade away, a ghost in a place filled with other ghosts. But as I sit here in this quiet room, something has started to shift inside me. The sadness is still there, a constant companion, but underneath it, there's a flicker of something else, a quiet anger, a stubborn refusal to simply disappear. My story is not over. My name is Margaret, and I will not be forgotten. They may have taken everything from me, but they cannot take my voice, and I will use it to speak for all the others who have been silenced, left behind in places just like this. This isn't just my story. It's the story of so many who become invisible when they no longer considered useful. It's a story that needs to be heard. We need to remember that the elderly are not disposable. They are the builders of the world we live in, the keepers of our histories. I've started writing everything down, my memories, my pain, my hope. Maybe one day someone will read it. Maybe my story can be a warning or a lesson. Maybe it can change something. Because while my children may have abandoned me in this grey room, they cannot extinguish the love and the life that still burns within me. They can't take my spirit. My story is not an ending. It is a new and much harder beginning. And I will face it, for Arthur, for myself, and for everyone else who has a story that deserves to be told. Thank you so much for listening to my story today. If this has touched you in any way, please consider sharing it. It's by talking about these difficult issues that we can bring them into the light. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel for more stories that matter. Your support means the world. Music starts softly, a warm, slightly reflective melody. Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today, I want to share a story that really touched me, a tale of discovery, resilience, and reclaiming one's power. It's a powerful reminder that even when life throws unexpected curveballs, we often have more strength and control than we realize. So grab a comfy seat, because this is one you won't want to miss. Imagine this. A gentle older woman, Mrs. Collins, finds herself in a new chapter of her life. Her children, Emily and James, are helping her transition. They've arrived at her new room, a space that's meant to be a fresh start. Emily, with a kind gesture, smooths a blanket over the bed, a small touch of comfort in an unfamiliar setting. James, meanwhile, glances at his watch, a subtle cue that their time is limited. "Mum," he muttered, his voice perhaps a little rushed, "you'll be fine here." Mrs. Collins had so many questions swirling in her mind. When would they be back? Would they visit often? But before she could even voice these thoughts, Emily leaned in, a soft kiss on her cheek, and whispered, "We'll visit soon." The words were meant to be reassuring, I'm sure, but as the door clicked shut and their footsteps slowly faded down the hall, a chilling realization washed over her. They weren't coming back anytime soon. It was a moment that hit hard, that feeling of being left alone, despite the best intentions. The first week, as you can imagine, was incredibly tough. She called them the empty days. The food, she described, was bland, almost tasteless. The nurses, though kind and professional, maintained a certain distance, a necessary boundary in their demanding roles. Mrs. Collins spent countless hours just staring out her window, watching the world outside, watching other families arrive. There were flowers, laughter, warm hugs, all the signs of connection and care that she longed for. But not for her. Not a single call came through. Each day, a hopeful question to the nurse, "Has anyone called?" Each day, a gentle, pitying gaze, "Not yet, Mrs. Collins." Nights were the absolute worst. The muffled cries of other residents echoed through the quiet halls, a symphony of shared loneliness. She'd clutch her blanket tight, whispering to her late husband, "John, what happened to our children?" It's heartbreaking to think of someone feeling so utterly alone, isn't it? Then came a day that really began to shift things, a moment that felt like a quiet turning point. A letter arrived for Mrs. Collins. It was official looking, with her name printed neatly on the front. Her heart probably fluttered a little, with a mix of anticipation and perhaps a touch of trepidation. As she opened it, she froze. It was a confirmation from her bank. A document stating that the sale money from her house, a significant sum, $280,000, had been deposited directly into her personal account. She blinked, confused, a rush of questions. Wasn't Emily supposed to handle that? Wasn't the plan for the children to manage these finances? Something stirred deep inside her, a blend of initial fear, yes, but quickly followed by a powerful surge of curiosity. With the kind assistance of a nurse who helped her navigate the details, she saw it clearly. The funds had been transferred directly to her asterisk. Her children hadn't noticed, hadn't intervened. The money was hers, undeniably. For the first time in months, perhaps even longer, Mrs. Collins felt something incredibly powerful awaken within her. Control. It wasn't about the money itself. Not purely. It was about the agency, the realization that she still held power over her own life, her own resources. It was a moment of profound clarity and a spark of renewed spirit. It showed her that even in moments of perceived vulnerability, opportunities for empowerment can arise in the most unexpected ways. This story isn't just about money. It's about finding your footing again, about realizing your own strength when you feel adrift. It's a testament to the quiet power that resides within each of us, waiting to be rediscovered. What do you all think about Mrs. Collins's story? Have you ever had a moment like this, where something unexpected gave you back a sense of control? Share your thoughts in the comments below. I love hearing from you. If you enjoyed this story and found some inspiration in it, please give this video a thumbs up. And do not forget to subscribe to the channel and hit that notification bell so you do want miss out on our next uplifting story. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. That night, I couldn't sleep a wink. I just lay there, staring at the ceiling, my heart pounding like a drum in my chest. They had just left me here, left me to fade away in this place, all while they waited, like vultures, to get their hands on that money. It all clicked into place. The sale of the house, their sudden concern. It was never about my comfort. It was pure, simple greed. The next morning, with a new fire in my belly, I found the head nurse. I asked her about transferring to another assisted living facility. She was hesitant at first, but then she told me about a place. A much, much better place. It was cleaner, quieter, had more activities, but she warned me, it's quite expensive. A small smile played on my lips. That, I said, feeling a strength I hadn't felt in ages, won't be a problem. For the first time in what felt like a lifetime, I was in control. I was making a decision for me. A week went by. The arrangements were made. The wheels were in motion. Then my phone rang. It was Emily. Her voice was dripping with a sweetness so fake it made my teeth ache. "Mum, we were just about to come visit. How are you settling in?" I could almost hear James in the background, probably coaching her on what to say. I took a deep, steadying breath. "Oh, I'm wonderful, dear," I said, my voice calm and even. "I've been quite busy actually, making some new plans." Plans. Emily's voice tightened, losing its sugary coating. What kind of plans? Yes, I continued, savoring the moment. I've moved all my funds into a new private account, and I'm transferring to a new care facility tomorrow morning. It's a lovely place. There was a dead silence on the other end of the line. I could picture her face, the shock, the dawning horror, then pure panic. Mum, what are you talking about? That money was supposed to be managed. Managed by whom? Emily. I cut her off, my voice sharp but not loud, by the two people who left their mother in the cheapest home they could find, hoping she wouldn't notice. I heard her breath catch, a sharp little gasp. Mom, it's not like that. Oh, but it is, I said, my voice softening, but with a core of steel. You made your choice when you left me here. Now I'm making mine. And with that, I ended the call. For the first time, there were no tears. Just a profound, liberating silence. The next morning, a private car came to pick me up. As we pulled away from that dreary building, I didn't even look back. My new home was everything the nurse had promised, and more. My room had a large window overlooking a beautiful garden filled with roses and lavender. The staff treated me with respect and warmth, calling me by my first name, asking about my day. I joined a book club, started painting against something I hadn't done since my husband was alive. I made friends, real friends, women my age, with stories and laughter to share. We'd sit in the sunroom, drinking tea and talking for hours. I felt alive again. I felt like myself. A few weeks later, a letter arrived. It was from Emily and James. It was full of desperate apologies, excuses, and pleas to reconsider. They talked about family, about love, about how they had my best interests at heart. I read the letter, folded it neatly, and put it away. It didn't anger me, it didn't sadden me, it just was a relic from a life I had left behind. My children had shown me their true colors. They had seen me not as a mother, but as a bank account, an obstacle, and in their greed they gave me the greatest gift of all, the push I needed to reclaim my own life. Here, in my new beginning, surrounded by genuine kindness and the freedom to be me, I found a happiness I thought was lost forever. I learned that it's never too late to stand up for yourself. It's never too late to choose your own happiness, to build your own future, even when others have tried to write it for you. My final chapter wasn't going to be one of sorrow and neglect. It was going to be one of joy, dignity, and peace. And it was a story I was finally writing for myself. Thank you so much for listening to my story. If it resonated with you, please consider liking this video and subscribing to the channel for more content like this. It truly means the world. Take care and remember to always value your own worth. A month later, they came storming in. I remember the day clearly. I was in the garden right here, enjoying a cup of Earl Grey, when I heard the crunch of gravel under their tires. They hadn't called, of course. They never did unless they wanted something. Mum, what did you do? James was the first one through the gate, his face a thundercloud. Emily was right behind him, wringing her hands, her expression a mixture of panic and accusation. The money. You moved all the money, he shouted, his voice echoing in the quiet afternoon. I took a slow, deliberate sip of my tea before looking up at them. The tremor in my hand, the one that had plagued me for years, was gone. I felt a stillness I hadn't known in decades. Yes, James, I did, I said, my voice calm and even. It's my money, after all. But ... but we had plans, Emily stammered, stepping forward. We were managing it for you, Mum, to make sure you were taken care of. Her voice cracked on the last few words, the lie catching in her throat. Guilt, raw and ugly, was plain on her face. She couldn't even meet my eyes. Taken care of. I set my cup down on the small iron table beside me. Is that what you call it? Bleeding my accounts dry for your new cars, your lavish vacations, your business ventures that never seemed to materialize. I looked from one to the other, seeing them not as my children, but as strangers who wore their faces. You weren't taking care of me. You were using me. You thought I was too old, too frail, too lost in my grief to notice. You were wrong. James scoffed, a desperate, harsh sound. We were just trying to help you live a better life. A sad smile touched my lips. What's best for me, ... was never your concern, I said softly. You wanted what was best for yourselves, . You saw me as an obstacle, a bank account to be drained before I was put away somewhere to be forgotten. I stood up then, feeling taller than I had in years. The fear they had cultivated in me, the doubt, the sense of helplessness, it had all vanished. The house is sold. The money from the buyout is in an account that you will never touch. Your access to my life, my finances, my home, it's all been revoked. The realization dawned on their faces, the shock, the fury, but underneath it all, a sliver of something else, regret. They had no power over me now, no control. They had played their hand and lost everything. They stood there, speechless, the anger draining away to leave only the hollow emptiness of their own greed. They left without another word. The sound of their car speeding away was the sweetest music I had ever heard, and I never saw them again. Now, my days are quiet. They are filled with things I had forgotten I loved. The warmth of the morning sun on my face, the scent of jasmine from the garden, the sound of laughter from the other residents here, people who have become my real family. We share stories, play cards, and simply enjoy the peace of the present moment. Sometimes I sit out here on the porch and watch the clouds drift by, and I can almost feel John's hand in mine. He would be proud, I think. Proud that I finally stood up for myself. People sometimes ask, in hushed, sympathetic tones, if I'm lonely without my family. I just smile. No, I tell them, I'm not lonely. I'm finally surrounded by peace, something my family never gave me. It's strange. When I check my bank account now, I don't see the numbers. I don't think about the money itself. I think of what it represents. Freedom. The freedom to live my own life on my own terms. Because that day, when the buyout money finally hit my account, I didn't just gain wealth, I regained myself. I found the woman who had been buried under years of manipulation and quiet despair. And she, I've discovered, is worth more than any fortune. She is priceless. Thank you so much for listening to my story. If it resonated with you, please consider liking this video and subscribing for more stories about finding strength in unexpected places. Take care of yourselves and never forget your own worth.